Try this again. I'm going to make sure. I've tried this twice and it didn't work. I'm just going to make sure on my YouTube channel that we're coming through. Okay, live now. Let me just make sure we're good here. You'll hear me come through on this again.
We're going to try this again.
Perfect.
I'm going to make sure. I've tried this twice and it didn't work. I'm just going to make sure on my YouTube.
All right, so I am live on YouTube. All right, cool. So that being said, all right, I had a special guest today who wanted to remain anonymous. So we recorded audio, and I am just going to play the audio that we recorded for the sake of the YouTube channel. And I added about a half hour at the end of it, but I recorded all of this on audio, and I did the second take of the audio that I recorded by myself on YouTube live, but apparently we weren't live, so I don't know where I screwed up on that. But anywho, yeah, so I'm just going to play. This is about 1 hour and 9 minutes, and this may be boring because you don't get to see me animatedly speaking like normal. This will just be basically audio that I'm going to play back from what we got here with my guest, brother Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk. Those of you who know that, you'll know this voice, you'll know who it is, but he wanted to remain anonymous for obvious reasons. But definitely going to be. Oh, and he had to leave in the middle. I keep forgetting. I said this on the original YouTube video that I did that didn't post, so I had to repeat myself. But anyway, he's going to be back to continue this. He had something come up, and he got a phone call and had to leave in the middle of the podcast, which is totally fine. He had to go put on his cape and go save the world, but he's going to be back. He's definitely going to be finishing the podcast that we started here today, and he's also going to be doing some Sunset Grill with us. And I'm just stoked you guys get to hear this man speak. So without further ado, episode number 54 of My Stuff featuring Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk. That's hilarious. All right, I'm going to play the audio for you. I'm going to walk away from the camera because I'd rather, you guys don't have to see me sitting here just doing nothing and hearing me speak. So here goes nothing. I'm going to try this again and hope that it works. Wish me luck. Hey guys, how you living? Are you doing well? Good. Glad to hear that. So this episode is unlike a lot of other episodes because 2 reasons. The first reason is that my guest is a person who I have literally wanted to have on this podcast since the beginning. One of the people who I first had my first few conversations about podcasts with, and one of the smartest people that I've ever met in my life. Also, he wanted to remain anonymous. So per his wishes, episode number 54 of My Stuff features brother, how did he say it? Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk. Alias Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk. And for those of you who know this man, as soon as you hear him speak, you're going to realize who it is, and you're going to be very excited. Unfortunately, there was a situation that caused him to have to leave early, which is fine because now that we've gotten him here, he's 100% going to be back to finish this talk, and that's going to happen in the near future. And just be very excited for the episodes that are coming in the future, and this one, which we got a lot of really good information. We got a lot of really good talk out of this one, and just to get inside this person's head for a little while is a fantastic place to be. I'm very, very happy that you guys get to meet old Rusty Blackhawk, old Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk today. So that being said, he also gave a couple of suggestions of things to listen to, which you will hear during this podcast. He brought records, so we played a record, and then he brought another one that we'll get to on the next episode because of the situation which he had to leave. But we played a little bit of one of the records that he brought, and it's pretty awesome. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for doing that. If I do, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but fuck it. Who cares? All right. So, by all means, if it ain't too much trouble, please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Go to the iTunes and the Podomatic. Subscribe to both of those. We also have a Discord channel now. The My Stuff Discord channel. Go to our Facebook page, the My Stuff Facebook page, also my Kelsey Hutchins Facebook page. I've shared it all over. Join the Discord channel so you can get pretty much updates on everything that's going on and who's going to be on and when we're recording and the subjects of which we'll be talking about and random things like that. And I just had this idea. I have a couple of things that I need to say, and I'm just going to tag that onto the end of this. So, yeah, that'll happen. So, without further ado, here's My Stuff, episode number 54, featuring Johnny Ray, Rusty Blackhawk. Enjoy, motherfuckers. Okay, before I go any further with this, I'm sorry to cut into the content here. In walking away, I realized that there may have been a reason why I wasn't on YouTube. I have a song in here that I played off of YouTube that YouTube may have took me down because I played it, and I didn't realize that until just now. So I am gonna take that out right there, and let's see where I had here. Lying, we're not going to fade out after that. Stay tuned. After this song, I'm going to record something else that was on my mind after the last couple of days, so don't go nowhere. Also, sorry to disappoint you, I took the song away for YouTube reasons. I think that YouTube didn't want me to play that, and I got taken down because of it, so I removed that song for YouTube's sake, but the song in question was Fire by the Lemon Twigs. So check that song out. But anyway, here's the remainder of the content that I recorded after our guest had to leave. So here's that. All right. I realized all of this while I was listening to the intro there. Like maybe that's why I didn't get the YouTube posted. All right. Did that do the right thing there? Yep. Fade. And that gets us right there at the hour mark, too, where I wanted to stay. So good on that. Perfect. There was another song in here, too. We played it on a record. You know what? Just for being safe, I'm going to get that. Take that one off, too. Where's something in here that looks like a song? That's talking. That looks like a song. All right. Why are you not doing what I'm asking you to do? I hate computers.
intro sound ever.
All right, I'm going to have to. Hopefully it doesn't take me down for the little bit that it's played already. Gosh, I hate inanimate objects that don't do what they're created to do. See, I'm sorry. I get so mad about things that don't do what they're supposed to do. All right. I'm going to bring this down here, so I will keep that file. But I'm going to bring the volume all the way down to. I'm sorry, I know that this is a very boring part of this that's going on, and I apologize for that. But we're getting back to the content here directly. I just had to do some work, and you see, oh, you know, all the fine behind the scenes stuff that you get to see. All right, so let me get this here. Come on with it. All the fine behind the scenes stuff you get to see. This will be a very much so behind the scenes episode. All right, now let me explain what happened here.
I did get Jim Neighbor's Christmas album. We'll save that for a later episode. Let's see.
Okay, so my guest brought this record to play, and we recorded playing it, but I believe that playing that and another song maybe have gotten us taken off of the YouTube, so I'm going to just go ahead and take that song off of here as well. I'm going to share links to it. It is, what's it called? Do It Again by the Staple Singers, so that's the song. Anyway, I'm getting back to the content here.
It's a good fade.
Getting back to the content here. God, I get so mad when this stuff doesn't work how it's supposed to. Singers, so that's the song. Anyway, I'm getting back to the content here.
It's a good fade.
Yeah. So, Calvin Lockhart plays a character called Biggie. All right. Now, so you guys have gotten to hear, you went into the future there, Doctor Who. You went into the future, Doctor. All right, so I'm going to just pick this up from where we left off at the end of the intro. And I'm going to let this thing do its thing on its own. It knows what it's doing. Stuff, episode number 54, featuring Johnny Ray, Rusty Blackhawk. Enjoy, motherfuckers.
The Nazi got deported like yesterday, on Tuesday. He
Like-
got deported to Germany.
A real Nazi.
A real Nazi.
Like a SS.
I think I'm saying his name right. I believe it's Jakub Polish. He's actually Polish, 95 years old, and still alive in very, very poor health. But he worked at, let me see, I wrote this down so I'd make sure to get it right. He was a Nazi guard at the Travniki camp in Poland, and fled when the occupying forces came in. He fled Europe and came to the United States in 49. He became a citizen in 57, and he worked in Queens and lived there his whole life.
Wow.
And in the 90s, the Eli Rosenthal Nazi hunters found him, and they started all the court proceedings to uncover who he is and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And in 2003, I think it was, he was convicted. And unfortunately, he was a stateless person because he was a citizen of the Ukraine when he was born, and then it became he was a citizen of Poland when he was born, is now part of the Ukraine. He worked for the Germans. He became a U.S. citizen, got rid of all that old citizenship, so the U.S. wanted to kick him out and had nowhere to go. So they just had to wait, and he was like under house arrest at his house in Queens. And people would come and protest all the time outside of his house.
Did he stick to his guns?
Well, no, he admitted in 2003, he admitted that he was, but he said he was merely a guard at the camp, like a gate guard, road guard, bridge guard. He didn't actually do anything. But interestingly enough, too, I'd never heard of the Travniki camp before.
Yeah, nor have I.
And I think it was around 60,000 people died there. I mean, they would execute people just in the street or in the camp, like just line them up and shoot them. And so he got deported Tuesday. Germany said that they would accept him, and he's going to go back and I guess live out his days in a jail, a prison, or whatever. I don't know.
Yes, I guess we'll take him back.
It's funny. Yeah, he was the last Nazi living in the United States that we knew of. He was the last one. He was the 68th Nazi deported out of the United States. He was the last one that we knew was here, and they say that there were thousands that came to the United States that we just never found.
Oh, 100%.
They just blended in. We never found them.
Well, Hitler lived in South America for all those years. You saw that.
But then I got kind of upset, and I'm not going to go off on a political rant, but
Please do, by all means.
No. I got kind of upset because as I'm reading the CNN coverage or the New York Times coverage, they start interjecting into the story how Republicans are saying, this is what ICE is for, to catch these criminals. Well, yes, ICE deported the guy, but that's not what you set it up for. You didn't create ICE to go look for Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just a byproduct of creating ICE. And then the other interesting thing is they also like to point out that he was living in the district of this girl, Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat socialist that just won this surprise victory primary over her opponent.
She's a Democratic Socialist?
Yeah. She just kind of came out of nowhere, and she won. And she's been all over the news. It's this real big deal that a Democratic Socialist would beat an old guard Democrat in his district. Well, then they want to point out that this Nazi was living in her district, and they're like, "See what happens in her district?" It's like, well, no,
what's that got to do with anything?
She didn't. She's like 28 years old. I mean, she has nothing to do with this guy. He had already been caught when she was born, so she had nothing to do with this clown. But yeah, I thought that was just a story that kind of was quick on the news. It's like, oh, we caught a Nazi and we're sending him back. Okay, I got to look into it. It was an interesting little read for a few minutes.
So I wonder how many more there actually are. There has to be a shitload. Well, I don't know. We're getting to the point to where it's not like a.
Well, they're old.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dying. I bet there's a lot that we don't know about.
They'll find in their effects. They'll find their uniform or whatever.
Right. I mean, because I don't know though. If you're involved in something like that, when it's over, you probably throw everything out. I mean, you don't want to be because
I'm gonna give you something you can't take off.
Exactly. Make sure everybody knows your truth, your deep truth. But they're still hunting for him. But like I said, it can't be that many left.
Well, the Hitler thing was a National Lampoon's prank, was it not? Didn't they they took a bunch of those pictures. I'm pretty sure that the Lampoons were the ones that did that.
Probably. I don't know. I just know that, who was it? The doctor, what was it? Mengele or whatever is the one that went down to Brazil.
Joseph Mengele.
Yeah.
Whatever his name was.
He was a bad guy, too.
They're all bad guys, man. Well, I appreciate you being here, my unnamed guest, Johnny
Ray Rusty Blackhawk.
Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk. This is epic, by the way. That's a great name.
You have to have 3 names if you're from the South.
That's the rules.
And then something to tie you to the land. That would be the Black Hawk.
The Black Hawk, your stage name. But so we were. I don't know if you want to go into this yet, but the ironic, did we tie all loose ends on the Nazi deportation?
Yeah, we're done with Nazis.
Oh, speaking of the ICE thing, my buddy Jeff Thomas, who was a guest on the podcast, told me about ICE going to a church in Conway, like a Hispanic church in Conway, and deporting people after they left church, like catching them as they were leaving church and deporting them. And I'm pretty sure, I tried to look it up. It was very hush-hush in the news, but there's a guy who has a produce stand who one of his main like providers of his produce lost like 100% of his staff basically by getting deported out of church. Can you believe
when did that happen?
That episode was probably about a month ago, and it's been a couple months, like within the last 2 or 3 months.
I don't remember. I thought I heard something the other day about somebody, a lady getting picked up somewhere, but it must have been totally unrelated. But no, I had not heard that in Conway, but I don't doubt it. I mean, I can't confirm or discredit that tale, but I also feel that it's entirely probable.
Absolutely, in this day and age, I don't know.
Yeah. And this is one of those things that you run the risk of making someone angry on one side or the other. But basically, there has to be a line drawn, a border made. There has to be rules in order for people to cross said borders. And we all want to adhere to those rules, and we all want to want safety and security. But I feel like if you're going to church, probably 99% of the people in that room are not bad people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just as in anything, there's a 1% that can be, troublesome.
Absolutely. I mean, that's anywhere.
Yeah.
Especially in the church.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're there. They're there to try to fix themselves.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? I've screwed up all my life, Lord.
They are there to try to fix something. That's what it is.
I've made my mistakes, Lord.
Please forgive me.
Why me, Lord? What have I ever done?
How about the lady in Hilton Head got eaten by the alligator?
Marshall did the story on that.
Oh, really?
He sent me. Yeah, he sent me like. He was sending me Snapchats of the feed. Yeah, he ran the camera for that. That
was the craziest thing. I heard them talking about it on the radio, and they said if you have a pet, anybody that's a pet owner, if another animal goes after your pet, you feel compelled to get in there and break this up. But when it's an alligator, you're not breaking it up. I mean, unless you're a professional alligator wrestler.
Count your losses, man.
But you're not going to get this. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
This ain't Louisiana.
No. Like I said, unless
you're not born with the ability.
What's the guy from the Everglades, Chief Billy?
Sure.
That has the famous. I don't even believe that he participates anymore. He might be dead. I don't know. But it was Chief. I think it was Chief Billy's alligator wrestling out there off the Tamiami Trail.
Chief Billy's alligator wrestling.
Yeah, and it was like Billy. It's something. There was more to his name. It was like Billy Jack. It wasn't Billy Jack. That's the movie. It was like Billy Charles or something. He didn't have 3 names.
he broke the rules in many ways.
Considered Chief a name.
Yeah, Chief Billy Jack. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Like if you see your dog getting had by an alligator, is it just like, well, we had a good run, Fido?
I would probably try to do something. However, and then maybe that lady was thinking that. Maybe she went after it. And she's like, oh, it's going to get my dog. And I'm going to jump in there and I'm going to stop this. And in her mind, she's thinking, I'm going to try to prevent this from happening. But when it gets to this point, I'm giving up. And maybe it passed that point so quickly, she wasn't able to make that decision. You know what I mean?
Now, how did it get her? Like, I mean, how did it?
From the front? Now, and I didn't read the tale,
Yeah.
but evidently it grabbed the leash and started pulling back to the water. She was walking along a pond on a golf course. I call it a pond.
Yeah.
Some folks tend to call it a lake. They have now changed it to the story to a lagoon. So she was walking along the lagoon with her dog, and I don't know what kind of dog it was. And the alligator evidently, I'm just going to say it leapt out of the water because it sounds good, and grabbed the leash and started going back into the water. And I guess dog on one end, lady on the other, and she tries to save the dog. She succeeded. She saved the dog. The dog is fine. But in the process, the alligator took her into the water.
So she's a hero now.
For saving the dog. I'm sure hope the dog appreciates it. And there's also this man that they interviewed, and I don't really get this. He said he was in the shower and he heard her shriek. I don't know. Either her shriek was extremely shrill and loud, or whatever condo he's staying in has paper thin walls. But he was in the shower.
Which is likely.
And he heard her shriek and he thought nothing of it. Then why'd you even bring it up? That's weird now. And then he walked out later and saw this crowd of people around the lagoon. And he went over and was like, oh my gosh, I heard her when she was attacked. And there was a shoe and her hat and another item of hers there on the ground.
So she got taken back into the lagoon.
Into the lagoon.
And it's probably still there, or did they get her out?
I wonder if it was the lagoon from Gilligan's Island.
It sounds
or was it
more
the Blue
likely.
Lagoon? Or was it the Black Lagoon?
Oh my goodness! Well, no matter what it was, it is most certainly the Black Lagoon now.
It will now be known as the Black Lagoon
for all of its days.
And the alligator has been caught and euthanized. They will perform I don't think they call it an autopsy on an alligator. I think they call it a necropsy. Anyway,
maybe
to open
necromancy
it up to not with an alligator, to confirm that it is the correct alligator that they euthanized. And I believe they said it was an 8-foot alligator as well.
See, we have a lot of those in Bennettsville.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's like Bennettsville is as swampy as anywhere in Louisiana. If I had to imagine, of course, I haven't been to Louisiana, so don't judge me. But there's a lot of like giant alligators out there. People should know better. I'm sorry. Glad the dog's okay. But you kind of need to know that this is something that, you know, God didn't give us dominion over all of these creatures.
No. And yeah, and then I'll put the last little sad note and then we'll move on. But she was also a kindergarten teacher from New York, and you know, school's starting back.
She hates school that bad?
You know, I hope the school wasn't like the Gators, because that would be awkward. If there were ever a reason to change your school mascot, that would be it.
The Hilton had long snouts.
The chompers.
Yeah.
Well, let's play a tune.
Let's play a tune, shall we?
All right. I hold in my hands a vintage copy of the soundtrack to the wildly popular Let's Do It Again, starring Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby, and Jimmy Walker as...
Of Good Times fame.
I believe his name in this movie is Bouncy Farnsworth. Bootney Farnsworth. Yeah, I don't have my spectacles, so I couldn't quite make that out. Yeah, that's it. We'll put that up there, kind of like that. And we're going to choose, interestingly enough, all songs on this album were written by the late, great Curtis Mayfield and performed by the Staple Singers.
Oh, man, Mavis and Pops and them?
Mavis and Pops and the gang. Let's see, what's the date on this one? 1975 from Cortum Records.
Did you buy this new?
I did not. This was a, what's that place called?
Goodwill.
Goodwill Find.
The Goodwill obviously have decent records. I never go to Goodwill for records.
You have to be
lucky,
willing to accept what is there, but they're $1 a piece. I did get Jim Neighbors' Christmas album. We'll save that for a later episode. Let's see.
Okay, so my guest brought this record to play, and we recorded playing it, but I believe that playing that and another song maybe have gotten us taken off of the YouTube, so I'm going to just go ahead and take that song off of here as well. I'm going to share links to it. It is, what's it called? Do It Again by the Staple Singers, so that's the song. Anyway, I'm getting back to the content here. It's a good fade.
Yeah.
So, Calvin Lockhart plays a character called Biggie Smalls in this
Oh, Biggie Smalls.
movie. Milkman Clyde Williams, portrayed by Portiered by. And his best
he
friend.
did put his own special spin on it.
Indeed. And his best friend, Billy Foster, Bill Cosby, who you've heard of that guy probably, folks,
I've seen him around.
are members of a fraternal lodge, the brothers and sisters of Shaka, that needs money for the retirement home they sponsor. Since Clyde has a gift for hypnotism, as milkmen so often do, they decide to fix an upcoming boxing match by hypnotizing the underdog fighter, Jimmy Walker. The scam works, and the men collect big winnings before a couple of mafia dons realize they've been tricked and decide to track Clyde and Billy down. That sounds very Harlem Nights.
It sounds very Harlem Nights, and it's 1975. Hold on, I had to send a little text. I apologize.
That's fine. That's fine.
Like I said, I'm getting a roof put on my house, and you don't want to miss out on anything with those guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what'd you think of that excellent soul tune?
Dude, that is fantastic. I love Pops, man. Pops is one of my favorite voices.
Yes.
Like he's in the last waltz. Pops does the "Slow Down, Miss Moses" verse
That's
in the
right.
Wait. Slow down, Miss Moses. It's
That's
just so
right.
clean.
Did you ever watch the Mavis documentary?
Oh, is it on the Netflix or the Prime?
I believe it was. I watched it either on Netflix or HBO, but it is a phenomenal documentary because she talks about where she grew up and the influences she had, and then just their whole life, their whole career with Staple Singers, and moving on to a solo career. Her work with Jeff Tweedy, everything that she's done.
Back up a second. What did she do with the Jeff Tweedy?
Her latest album he produced, and he helped.
Really?
Yeah. And it's fantastic album. But supposedly, according to the documentary, you watch the documentary. Supposedly, she and Bob Dylan had a little thing going on, and Bob Dylan asked Pops if it would be okay if he tried to marry Mavis, and Pop said that was something that he would have to take up with Mavis, not with him. But supposedly they were a bit of an item in, I guess, the mid '60s, late '60s.
That's kind of interesting. I like that Pops is like, well, you're gonna have to ask her.
You gotta talk to me.
You might better run that by her, cousin.
But I think one of her sisters just died recently or was hospitalized. I'm not sure, but I'm not positive about that. But yeah, I just saw that. It seems like I saw that too. But anyway, that Curtis Mayfield, I think, is just was a phenomenal composer.
Absolutely.
And that song is just great. Absolutely great.
Ironic dates, as we were talking about earlier. This movie was released on my brother's birthday in 1975. Well, he wasn't born until '81, but it was still the day he would be born.
Well, and I don't know that I'm ever going to watch the movie. I may, but I do like the soundtrack.
I think I'm going to watch it now. You know what? I'm going to take the risk of it showing up that I watched a Bill Cosby movie. I'll take the risk.
Yeah, I can't believe somebody's watching Bill Cosby. Well, this was I don't know, and if people could see, just go online and watch the trailer, and you'll see how Bill Cosby's dressed, and it's hilarious. It's well worth it.
You never see him wear things like this in real life.
No, you don't. Well, maybe you
Or
did. I'm not
outside of
sure.
animation, anyway.
No, outside of animation, exactly. One animation I can think of specifically. Oh, by the way, talking about taking a risk and looking to see if something was streaming, one thing I did think about mention was, do you think that streaming service, streaming television, whatever you want to call it, I think it's hurt TV,
Yes.
cable television,
Yeah.
and I think it's hurting movies as well.
I think so, too.
Because last night I was looking up some stuff on the computer and I saw the trailer for a new version of Papillon, starring Charlie Hunnam, the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, yeah.
The original starred Dustin Hoffman and why have I forgotten his name now? Steve McQueen, and it's about a thief. French thief who gets sent to the penal colony in French Guiana in South America.
Explains the name. I get it now.
And the reason he was called Papillon is because he had a butterfly tattooed on his chest. And the French word for butterfly is papillon. And he famously escaped.
This movie's moving further away from where I thought it was going in my mind, by the way.
He famously escaped from the prison. And that's what the movie's about. And it's a true story. And anyway, I saw this trailer for Papillon, a new version, and I said, funny I haven't seen that. But then it dawned on me, I don't watch TV anymore. I just stream. And then I said, well, I haven't even seen anything at the movie theater. And I said, I haven't been to the movie theater. In fact, most of the time I watch a movie is on an airplane or streaming. I don't go to the theater. And usually if I do have an opportunity, I just don't have an opportunity most of the time, but when I do have the opportunity, I look at the bill and say there's nothing I want to see. I mean, there's no movies that make me want to go spend $8, $9, $10, that I'm willing to devote that much time to. And
there may be 4 movies I want to see a year, and I'll actually go see one of those 4.
Right, and I don't know if it's because the availability of streaming services and everything else, or even just listening to a podcast. I don't know if that
It's more convenient.
is right. I don't
cheaper.
know if that's and also probably it's being compounded by the fact that, and I'm not putting down writers and directors and actors by saying this, but movies just don't have the allure.
And for
They're not
me,
good.
I had this conversation with Smitty the other day on the way to a gig. I was like, man, I didn't do and I know we've had conversations. You did the comic book thing as a kid. Mm-hmm. I didn't do the comic book thing as a kid, and the Hollywood has just run rampant with just comic book movies, and I don't get any of it. I don't get that.
You don't know the backstory. You don't know the history.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
And they're not to step
too
on
late
your
now
words,
to try to
right. And they go so deep into these stories that even the casual comic book reader is not aware of a lot of these things. And the crazy, and again, this is going to lead back to Hollywood. Have they run out of ideas?
That's what I'm thinking.
They're mining comic books. And by the way, I've rarely, I can name one movie that I've ever gotten up and walked out of the theater on. And, I said that. I can name it, and now I can't think of the darn title. But it's the one with Jeremy Irons, and he plays twin brothers, and they're doctors, and they're killing people. I can't remember that. But that was a horrible movie.
Funny, Jeremy Irons not Jeremy Irons. Who's the other Irons guy that played in Die Hard?
Michael Ironside?
Michael Ironside. Yep. It was him, not Jeremy Irons. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, it was. He was one of the. We had to put these characters in order as to when they were born, and it was Michael Ironside, Tom Skerritt, Tim Robbins, and somebody else I can't remember.
Was Michael Ironside the oldest, or Tom Skerritt?
I don't know. I can't.
It was the other one.
I gave it was the other guy. Yeah, it was the guy I couldn't remember.
But at any rate, I walked down that movie, and then I've turned a few movies off. But most of the time, I don't care how bad it is. I'll usually watch it to the end just to see.
For closure.
I gotta know.
Yeah.
I even watched a movie called The Transmorphers, thinking it was the Transformers. I watched it to the end.
Did you send that to all of us?
Yes, I watched it to the end just to see, and it was a horrible movie. But my point was, I was on a plane recently and I was watching the new Justice League movie, and I quit about 20 minutes into it. It was just terrible. It was a terrible movie. I just didn't get. I just don't like it. It was slow, and then they would blow things up, and that's not entertaining to me. I need more.
Yeah, I need a story.
I need more. And I'm going to have to wrap this up. I apologize, but
No, that's fine.
you know the life of Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk is fraught with danger on all sides. And sometimes you got to move. You got to stick and move. But I do want to leave you with a tune, and this is one I just heard the other day. The album's getting released in a couple days. It's by a band called the Lemon Twigs. They're from Long Island. It's Brian and Michael Diodario. Keep this in mind as you listen to it. Brian is 21. Michael is 19. This is their second album.
Yep.
And and they are quite talented. The whole album is a concept album, like a rock opera. And this is one of the tracks. And it's about, I looked this up, it's about a chimp raised to think he's a human. And his parents are Todd Rundgren and their mom. And he goes to school and realizes he's different. And that's what all the songs, it's just like Tommy, like the rock opera Tommy. It's kind of the same thing. But they went to Hickman High School, and it was the same high school as Billy Joel, which I think is pretty wild. But anyway, like I said, I've got to go. But if you'll play the Lemon Twigs Fire.
I will.
And then ask people to leave comments about the content of the song, because it is thought-provoking. It is very thought-provoking. And it is like 5 different genres balled up into one. It's just all over the place, but somehow it works.
So is music.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. All right, well, we're going to...
But thanks a lot for letting me stop by, and I'll come back to see you again.
No, thank you for being here, brother Rusty Blackhawk.
Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk.
Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Off to save the world.
Yes.
At least in one person's mind,
I'll
for
just
sure.
put my cape on as I leave the door.
All right, guys, well, I'm going to leave you with some Lemon Twigs right here. We're going to fade out after that. I was lying. We're not going to fade out after that. Stay tuned. After this song, I'm going to record something else that was on my mind after the last couple of days. So don't go nowhere. Also, sorry to disappoint you. I took the song away for YouTube reasons. I think that YouTube didn't want me to. I think the YouTube didn't want me to play that, and I got taken down because of it. So I removed that song for YouTube's sake. But the song in question was Fire by the Lemon Twigs. So check that song out. But anyway, here's the remainder of the content that I recorded after our guest had to leave. So here's that. Well, there you go. Our anonymous guest, who you may hear his name on the video for just a second, which is no secret, but brother Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk coming in hot. With the good suggestions on things to listen to. Anywho, there's really no clean way to get to this, and this is only like a 5-minute ordeal, probably 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know how long it'll take, but so I had something on my mind this week, and okay, so it's mostly due to this thing that I posted on Facebook the other day, but I'm going to get to that after this first little story. So I was at a gig on Monday at Drunken Jack's, and there's this family who are in the lounge waiting for their table. Where I play at Drunken Jack's is I play in the waiting lounge. There's like the lounge area where people are waiting for their table upstairs. So, for instance, like if you go to Outback and there's a 45-minute wait, rather than waiting 45 minutes sitting awkwardly on a bench next to a bunch of other people waiting on their tables, then there's a lounge area where you can go and eat popcorn, listen to music, order appetizers, drinks, yada yada. Anywho, these people were waiting on their table, and this high school age girl walked into the door. The mom said something to the high school age girl. And the girl just responded to her mom and referred to her as the N-word with a hard R. I must also tell you that this was a white family. These were Caucasians. And the daughter just like, in a response to what her mom said, which I can't even remember now what it was because I was just, after she said what she said, I was just like, are you serious? Like, that's still happening? And she just, and I wasn't sitting like in this group. I was obviously to the side, and she said it loud enough for me to hear it. And granted, I'm a bartender and musician, so I'll hear everything, but I'm not the only one that heard this. And she just used it like it was just so nonchalantly that she used this word, and with the hard R, dropping the hard R. Listen, and I'm not of the belief that some people are of the belief that if they say it a certain way that it's acceptable. I'm not that person. I don't think there's an acceptable way to say it at all. And every single time I hear it, it fucking makes me mad. And and it makes me mad because I am a person who has used that word before, and just freely, like it was mine to use, and I have, and I'm embarrassed of that fact. So it literally just, when I hear somebody say that, I guess the root of the anger is that, holy shit, I'm the one who's been looked at like that person's being looked at by me before. And somebody's looked at me like I'm looking at her right now. And that angers me that I was so ignorant in my life. But I'm big enough to admit that did happen, but that I'm making a choice to remove certain things from my vocabulary in my mind. I'm trying to cleanse myself, which is no secret to any listener. This is just what embarrasses me most about this, and the most disturbing thing, I guess, is that there were about 10 of these people, and the number of kids outnumbered the amount of adults that were in this group. So these kids are growing up in a household, and obviously this was multiple households. This wasn't just one group of people with like a shitload of kids. And I mean, it could have been. Who am I to assume? But the thing that got me is that this high school age girl walked in, used this word to her mom, and she's holding the hand of who I can assume is her younger brother, and hopefully not her child. But by the demeanor of these people, I wouldn't be surprised if this high school age girl, who said her age, she made it a point to address the fact that she was 17 years old, and I heard her say that in a point of whatever, I guess just trying to tell how old she was. I don't know. But she made it a point to address her age. And this little boy whose hand she was holding had to be 6 or 7. So, I mean, who knows? But it bothers me that there's a group of people who are growing up in a family, like group of kids growing up in families who are from whatever area these people are from, where it's okay to use words like that. And I mean, it's not okay anywhere, but obviously in this group of people, there's nobody correcting this girl. There's nobody saying anything to her about it. I mean, this is like 2018. How do people think that this is okay to do? And this is, I look around the room and I notice that there are, I don't know, there's probably 50 or 60 people who are within, and maybe not that much. There's probably maybe 30 people who are in this one long lounge area. And I would say that out of the 30 people who were in there, like 15 to 20 of these people, 15 people for sure heard her say what she said. And it's like this entire family of people just moved on with that conversation as if that didn't just occur. And I can't imagine, and I know that people don't feel the same way that I do about things, but I expect people subconsciously to see things the way that I see them, just because that's how your subconscious works, I guess. And you want people to know how you feel, or I said that wrong. You want people to feel the way that you feel. You want people to share your beliefs, and I'm not foolish enough to believe that that's possible, but I just, because in my life and my heart and out of my mouth, I'm being wiser with the things that I'm saying and how it might affect people other than myself, and I'm ashamed that not more people are like that. So I posted this video the other day on Facebook of an old vet who claimed to be a Christian and was on a missions trip to Libya, I think it was. And this video is him in a hotel lobby of this hotel in Libya, I'm pretty sure, screaming the N-word at these guys who are working and literally punching the dude. Like he's punching this poor dude in the head while he's screaming obscenities at him. And he's like using the name of Jesus, like, in Jesus' name I rebuke you and shit like that. And I'm like, I'm a Christian, and I love God, I love Jesus, I have him in my heart, and I don't hide that fact, but I don't go out into the world and broadcast that either. I don't go out into the world with my sole purpose as to let people know that I'm a Christian. As a matter of fact, it's the contrary. I try my best to hide the fact that I am. That way, in my life anyway, that way when someone finds that out about me, they will know that I've had every opportunity to talk to them about this and to let them know this, but they've known me for however long, and then they find out, oh, he's a Christian? Well, you can't be, because you're not like the rest of them. And it's true, I'm not. And I make it a point not to be, because in my mind, we as a group have dropped the ball in a big way. It is embarrassing to be considered part of that group for a number of reasons, and one of which is that most Christians who are portrayed in, let's say, the media, or pretty much the largest group of Christians who the world will see and base their opinions upon, are the ones who are racists, screaming obscenities at people of a different race, or picketing some bullshit thing with just signs that just because somebody has a different sexual orientation than you, or somebody is a different color than you, or somebody prays to God by a different name than the one you use. I mean, this is how we're depicted these days. This is how Christians are looked at. And we don't need any more help in the Christian community or the white community in looking like fools. We don't need any more help because there's enough of us out there that are doing enough shit to make the rest of us look bad. We don't need any extra shit yet. These people think it's okay in this family to just drop the N word just nonchalantly, like it doesn't even matter, like that's ours to use. And or this guy who doesn't care that he's being filmed and still just punches a hotel worker in the face, all when he is going to Libya on a missions trip to try to bring people to God. Do we not see the fucking problem here? Excuse my language while I'm talking about God, but I apologize. I curse when I pray too. He knows my deal. I still talk to the guy. But I just, are we seriously still there? Is this, obviously I'm talking about it, so there's nothing that we can do about that. But seriously, when is this going to be enough? When is enough enough? When is it all going to be over? I've said that in episodes past in this situation. When is enough enough? And it's almost like, and I probably will talk about this every time. And this may be something that you've heard me say before, or maybe something that I may be overstating the fact, and that you guys, okay, we get it. You've already talked about this on another episode, but I don't care. If that's an issue, don't listen. I'm sorry, but I'm going to probably bring this up every single time that I'm prompted with the opportunity, because it needs to be said. Obviously, this girl's family isn't correcting her or saying that this isn't okay. So that means that in their mind, they think that it's okay, and it's so not okay. Also, this guy who is over in the part of the world who may need God, and I'm not personally saying that this part of the world needs God. Don't hear me wrong. I'm saying that whatever community this guy is a part of decided that they needed to go spread God's word to Libya, and they were led by the Spirit or whatever have you to go do so. Or maybe they were led by, we want to say that we sent a group to Libya to spread the word, just so that they can say that they did it, which seems more the case, seeing how one of the guys in this group is acting. But then I'm doing the same thing that I'm accusing everybody else of by stereotyping the group. But it's not hard to stereotype a group when you have somebody in the group who acts like this. I don't see this person coming out in someone and acting out like that, especially on camera, and nobody ever seeing that before. Like, I don't see that. Just in the same that I talked about the guy who shot up the school. Like, I don't see anybody developing that personality that and not giving any kind of sign prior to that moment. So obviously, people around this guy have had the opportunity countless times to show him the right way or to correct his ignorant language, but they haven't. And it's fostered a viewpoint now. So, I mean, it's no longer just words. Now it is also a belief. Like, this guy believes this, and they believe this is okay. So, how are you going to bring it's by most of these people, not mine personally. I would love for people to be saved and be Christians and love Jesus and God the way that I do. I would love for that to be the case. But it's not my MO to go out in life and make disciples of all the world. That may be what the Bible says to do, but the Bible says a lot of things that I don't personally agree with. So if this guy's MO is to go out into the world and make disciples of the people, why in the world is he showing this to the world? If he wants to bring people to Jesus and bring people to God, how are you supposed to do that when you're an unashamed racist that punches people? And And you're showing that to the world. You're being filmed, and you know you're being filmed. The guy knew he was being filmed. He didn't care. And that just really bothers me. As Christians and as white people, we have dropped the ball in a huge way, and I am doing my fucking best to reverse that as much as I can, but it's like all white people are in this Fred Flintstone car. And there's so many people that are just driving, and I'm doing my best to just hold the feet down. Well, actually, no. Let's reverse that. There's so many people who are just holding their feet down that don't want this vehicle that we're in to move ahead. That a lot of other people have just stopped trying. They're stopped trying to move. They're just like, okay, well, if this is where we're going, then let's just stop. But damn it, I'm not that person. I'm going to continue to move forward, and I don't care how anybody feels about that, because this is my walk, nobody else's. I'm going to excel in my life and my spirituality. If they want to be stuck in the 19 whatevers, then by all means allow them to do that. It's foolish, it's sad, it's depressing, it's just sad. It's that's all there is to it. It's fucking sad. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for Christians. It doesn't look good for white people. And if you're one of the people who wants to respond, and I know that there are people on my Facebook who will take the, well, it ain't just white people's fault route. And if you're one of those people, you're the fucking problem. Did you hear me? I want to make sure you understand that. If you take that stance about this, then you are part of the problem. Just examine yourself, examine your hearts, examine your minds. Find out who you really are. Because if you don't think that you're that person, but you have that stance, you're 100% that person. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you are wrong. And I have no problem in the world telling people that they're wrong. And they hate to hear it usually, because I'm usually right about it. And I'm sorry for that too, but that's also the truth. So that being said, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Brother Johnny Ray Rusty Blackhawk will be back with us eventually. And I'm going to leave you with this thought as the music's kicking up. Every single day, you are being watched. In this day and age, you cannot leave your house and not be watched. There is, and this is not conspiratorial or this isn't, is that a right word? Is that a word? Did I just make up a word? This isn't a conspiracy. With the amount of cameras that are everywhere, as far as traffic cams and local businesses that have cameras, it's impossible to do something in public without being filmed these days. Even in the woods, there's game cams and shit that people have set up everywhere. Just the probability of you being filmed while you're in public is probably in the high 80s or 90 percentile, I would guess. Okay, I'll leave you with this. Know that you're always being watched. Just know that you're always being watched. If you live your life like you're always being watched, which is basically what I've done with Christianity and religion, I do live my life like there's a guy up in the sky who's just watching me all the time. And it keeps me, I don't know the word to use. It keeps me, I guess, accountable. It holds me accountable for the things that I do. And I believe that there will be a time when I will have to pay for the things that I've done in my life. And when it comes time for me to make that payment, I don't want the check to have to be so big. Keep your number low. Keep your things that you have to be held accountable for at the end low. Because whether or not you believe in religion or an afterlife, if you don't believe in afterlife and you have children on earth, think of that as your afterlife. Think of the fact that your children are going to have to pay for the sins of their fathers and mothers. Like your children, the generations that come after you, your nieces and nephews, even if you have nobody, it's just the rest of the world is going to have to continue in this place after you're gone. Think of that as an afterlife if you don't already have an afterlife in your mind. Just know that the things that you do in this world will have to be answered for one day. Whether it be in an afterlife or just simply on this earth, things will have to be answered for. Just make sure that whatever those things are that have to be answered for were worth doing while you were here, because you're going to have to pay for them eventually. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'm just blown away that this is still a subject like worth talking about. And I'm talking about it. I'm feeding into this monster too. Anyway, I'm getting the fuck out of here, guys. Got nothing else for you. Thanks for listening. Love you. Mean it. Check out the Discord channel. Make sure to stay up to date with everything that's going on. Yeah, that's that. Love you. Mean it.
As the phone dies, how you like that? Phone just died. I'm gonna cut the video feed off or stuck recording. Let's see if it's stuck recording. Still red, so we're still recording, I'm sure. So it is working now. Okay. All right.
Play the limit. It is very thoughtful, and it is genres balled up into one. It's just.
All right, we're stopping streaming. Farewell, folks.